Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment in the series we call Breakdowns. Sometimes, if one person asks, that is enough. And someone asked, following... It wasn't last week's. It was a question. It was a somewhat specific question about the Vanquish bodies. I believe someone asked on the Discord, has anyone used any of the Vanquish bodies, or if any of the vehicles in the Canyon fleet were using any of the Vanquish bodies, other than obviously the Phoenix. I think they meant the Origin bodies, either the full cab here or the half cab. And inarguably, this is the GFO, by the way, and the Vanquish bodies are as much of a commitment as any of the other large investment bodies. The tariff times have caused the prices to go up and down. When this was purchased, the body set is $109.99 US American money. And the vehicle underneath is a Ground Fox Origin, the GFO. This was not iterative. We purchased this is a Blind Guy Canyon collaboration. I want to say his second. Colonel Mustard was his first collaboration. This would be the second. Bought a Gatekeeper kit. Bought a Ground Fox body. Bought those wheels. And basically put the pieces together. The most involved part of this process was fabricating up body mounts to get this onto this. Well, that, and the Blind Guy wanted the track narrow. He wants as much of the tire underneath the body as possible. So I did everything that I could, and it's quite a lot. Like, we've got 9-10 millimeters out on each side. The wheel track on this guy sits at 235, which is pulling them in a decent amount considering that the axle is like 190, 195 pin to pin. So I machined the hexes down on the lathe to get them in tighter. And then I put 6 millimeter hubs inside the wheels. Now you can get pin drive hubs. They're really annoying, but you get pin drive hubs and pull it even more. We could get it in about another 5 millimeters. But honestly, all 4 axle stubs have had to have been ground down because otherwise you would be able to see the axle sticking out past the end of the wheel. It is pulled in pretty much further than I would recommend because when you cast or flip the front end and go to full lock, we are running the high clearance links turned sideways, and you can see why. Flash Hobby 45 kg up front, Fusion SE 1200, and if you take a Stealth, and if you've not seen one before, this is the Fox belly. I know there are other options, there are other versions of this now. I believe the Fox belly and by extension, the Ground Fox from Artful Dodgers are both out of production now. And we bought this Artful Dodger so early after its announcement that it's usually got lasering of the little Fox logo. Does it have it on the... You can see. Can we focus it right there? There he is. There's the little Fox. There's usually the Fox on the chassis rails as well, but we got this one so early on. Had to order it from Poland, had to wait a month, and wasn't even lasered. It was missing a few pieces, if I recall as well. Guy in a garage, you know? One guy getting things done. I've always liked the geo. I've liked the geometry that he went with this, and it was a reasonable approximation of a conversion. Like, it's using all of the high clearance links. It's set the wheelbase at 313. This is indeed a 313 wheelbase body. A quick note on the body. Like, it comes with all the stuff, right? Grill, light buckets, wipers, the full interior panel, the rear buckets. It's got all of the things. Went full patina on this. This is a base of Duplicolor vinyl and fabric silver. Once you use something that will bond to polycarbonate, you can put whatever you want over the top of it. And the purple is, it's a Krylon, and it's called Plum, like pleasantly plum, surprisingly plum. It was an all Krylon job. Krylon CoverMax, the can looks completely different now, but it is still basically called Rich Plum. That is Rich Plum. And the roof is Krylon Pebble. Satin Pebble. Exceptionally smooth and durable paint. And we did this in the newfangled method, which is base of the silver, dust coat of Duplicolor. No, not Duplicolor. The Rust-Oleum, the tall boys, because the color of flat red primer is basically rust. It closely, it closely approximates rust. So base of silver, then the primer, just a dust, not a full coat. You don't want to do it completely red. You just want a dust of red. And then I believe, I would like to say that I masked it so it is purple from the belt line down and then pebble from the belt line up. So it required a lot of extra masking. And then I want to say it was Scotch Brite. Just a Scotch Brite pad. And the trick is, in this patina, like I don't recall doing anything beyond Scotch Brite. Mist a little water on it and just go, like, I go on Amazon and I get these big variety packs of Scotch Brite pads, and I want to say they're this big, and I cut them in half. And with it wet, you just kind of follow the body lines and you go down, because a sandpaper gets far too aggressive, and then that basically gets you that type of finish where the rest is flushing through. All of the scratching and stuff, that's just bona fide natural patina. That's from driving. And I like that. This is kind of, when I'm doing patinas now, and this is one of the earlier ones, like I didn't do the salt, I didn't do the layers of sanding, I didn't do any of that. And then the inside is just backed with, I don't know, gray, some kind of gray. It's like a primer gray in there. The interior was painted, I want to say by hand. I want to say I did the interior panels by hand. I don't remember. It's been too long. Underneath, as said, the Ground Fox, which was a conversion for Element. It's been caster flipped, of course. Chavtex on there. Flash Hobby 45 kg, as I mentioned up front. Fusion 1200, 2387 on the gearing. It's being run off of Too Much Radio, KO Propo RREX2, with all of the adjustable things, including the foot to run the bigger battery, the whole deal. The Blind Guy. Again, the backer of this was not the radio it was built to. This was like a grail radio for him, and it came about that I was able to get my hands on one, so it seemed obvious to put it on this. So probably one of the lower latency vehicles in the fleet is this one. I would also like to point out that if you take a Fusion SE 1200 and you put it on a Fox Belly, aka a Stealth X, with the 12% underdrive in it, that's with the drivetrain at full droop. It's gotta be one of the quietest things here. And, like, it could conceivably be quieter. Because this layout, how much angle are we talking on the skid? Not a lot. Not a lot. This all predates the Stealth XF. I think if you swapped all of this out with a Stealth XF, which would put the motor where the battery is, and having the battery there, let's put it this way, if you can, kind of recommended, because the battery is, of course, unsprung, but it is down much lower. I could not just do my usual, go to my BOSOA, my battery on servo and axle bin, bend up a bracket, because the haphazard, I want to say it's a Stampede. It's a body mount for Stampede. And then it's just bolted to the front of that. And then it's clearanced so that we can get to the battery strap. Couldn't just slap one on the front without completely reconfiguring the front body mount. So we went with the behind, which was done with chassis spacers. Can you see them there, bolted to the bracket? And then this is a servo on axle mount for a Capra. And then, why does it say, oh, we are ever so slowly, so the throttle is out of trim just a little bit. And it's getting a little warm because we are in, like, what is it? What is the low equivalent of sine? It's just ever so gently creeping forward. And then I just took a piece of, that's just polycarbonate. And it's servo taped to the servo, and it's very simple. It doesn't have to hold much weight. It just has to hold that in place, and it's never going to interfere with anything. I'd have to move the servo if we Stealth XF'd this. And I've thought about it. I've thought about it because it would centralize the weight of the motor, but it would move the motor a little higher. GFO is pretty solid. There are some upsides and downsides to the Fox belly. Flipping your Stealth X on its side, there are upsides and downsides. It gets the motor lower. It definitely spans the weight out. It gives you some slightly undesirable drive shaft angles, like look at that guy, woo, and then that guy's going way over like that. But it does drive well. It has had something approximating a small curse, which is whenever we get into any sort of in-house competition, something befalls the GFO. Like a wheel nut starts to loosen up, and then one wheel is flangling around, and you don't notice it. But when your rear wheel can like move like that, it's going to really mess with your forward motion. Or he bends his servo horn and we don't notice. And it stops, like he gets full throw steering one way and he gets about 2/3 of his steering in the other direction. And we don't notice it. And then another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing. I don't know if the GFO has really gotten a full opportunity to show his capabilities without some sort of injury, known or unknown. I think above all other things, he's definitely a looker. That Origin body is a good looking body, and I have come very near to buying the half cab on multiple occasions, and then my brain goes, $110. I'm still of the mind where even $60 all in, like $60 for a cab and cage, I go, oh, there's a lot of J Concepts shells in here. There's a lot of Proline via inexplicable Horizon Hobby sales where all of a sudden, hey, this body is now $20. Hope you didn't buy it last week when it was $49 because it's $19.99 today. So there's a lot of those, and across the entirety of the fleet, in terms of Vanquish bodies made by Vanquish, we've got 3. 2 Phoenix VRD, I think they call them VRD 1. Is that right? VRD 1? 2 of the Phoenix bodies, one is a cab only, one is the cab and cage, and then this Origin. And I didn't purchase either of the Phoenix bodies. They came via buying Phoenix kits, as one used to be able to do, and it had all of the stuff with it. This one was purchased for $109, and it was much easier to lay the cash out for the LCG, for the Artful Dodgers kit than it was to spend. I mean, 110 on a body is still wild, man. It's still wild. And I know there are drift bodies which would fit under this comfortably that cost even more. It doesn't mean I have to like it. Duratrax fossils, and I want to say they're squids. I'm pretty sure these are squid inserts in here. It's like just the right amount of static bag. He is a guy that is in a fortunate / unfortunate position. That is the GFO. His level of performance is above acceptable. Like, we could go through a whole Tinkerfest and move this here and move that there and experiment with this and experiment with that and go through another in a long and storied line of tire testivals, and we might squeak another % or 2 in performance out of him. But what I think it's better to do is embrace the fact that amongst other members of the fleet, some of whom have been iterative, have gone through so many guises and forms and changes and axle swaps and gearbox swaps and body swaps and tried 12 different tires. For every one of GFO who was purchased and accumulated and assembled as this, there are 5 Eddies and Colonel Mustards and any of the other vehicles that have gone through 10 or 12. Blue Sky High has had 6 different chassis. At least 6. I can find like 4 of them in the bin. And then there was the C channels that he came on originally. And then there's the ones that he's on now. So that's at least 6. This guy has been on 1 set of rails, 1 set of axles, 1 gearbox, 1 servo, one set of wheels. We changed his shocks out, I think because we wanted to go 5 millimeters shorter. We went from the factory team 90s to these 85s because even on 85s, he's about right where I want to be. On the 90s, he was up about here, and it was too much. There is indeed, yes, Virginia, there is indeed too much articulation. There can be too much of a good thing. And this guy is not a supremely long travel guy. I need to I need to do the thing on that, you know, I need to do that. Or I was pressing the turn something on first. Anyway, the GFO is a bit more of a scale guy. He's not a full scale guy. He's a crawler guy. But if you've got full fenders and you're willing to make that sacrifice for vanity, this is a good sacrifice to make. He's a good looking guy. And those fossils work on him. Is there a tire that works better out there? Maybe. Are we going to find out? No, we are not. Because the new mindset nouveau here is, yes, continue to work through iterations, but resist the temptations to iterate an individual thing over and over and over and over, because then what ends up happening is parts on, casts off, parts on, casts off, parts on, casts off. And then you're building vehicle after vehicle out of cast-offs. And more often than not, you don't get where you wanted to be at the end. So, build this. Build the next thing. Build the next thing. Learn from the process of building this, and then building this, and then building this. And then spin around and take that knowledge, take that accumulated information, and put that into the new one. And then you know what we're in the midst of right now? Well, breakdown. But I mean on a grander scale. That is, we have had an extremely fortunate series of ghost rides where we build a rig, we slap it together, we take it out on the rocks, and it's pretty good. And as it is generational, and it is something that is ingrained in me to be by nature self-deprecating and think, well, if we got there by accident. Even I, at this point, will acknowledge, to some of my own chagrin, that it is because I have retained some of that knowledge over time. And I kind of know. I feel like in the moment, I'm just slapping links on. But I think there's a part of the lizard. Where is he? There's a part of the lizard that is slapping that button because he knows. I know where the links kind of need to go. And I have an idea of what that geometry and that tire might do together. Sometimes sometimes, by God, it's successful. And we're doing pretty good lately. I hope you're doing pretty good lately. If there's anything that I've neglected to mention about this, no one is surprised. But that is what the comment section below is for. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a concern, voice it below, and I will respond appropriately. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. The GFO, the Ground Fox Origin, he's all right. He can do the thing. He can do the canyon thing. He can do the thing. I hope you do the thing. You know what that thing is? One and all, do your very best. Have a good winter. We'll see you again here from the canyon, hopefully real soon, with some other thing.